us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, my mom did or I did?
Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us.
Yeah, I shared it for her so she could find it.
There are 8 on
Welcome
Facebook and
to
3
the
on
Necromancer
YouTube.
Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us.
As far back as I can remember, I dreamt of a normal life. A life filled with normal things. A life where monsters don't live in closets or under the bed. A life where ghosts aren't real. I just wanted to be normal. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Since my early 20s, I have experienced profound paranormal events that would change my life. Extreme poltergeist activity, living amongst those that have departed this earth in ways unimaginable. It has affected my loved ones and children with no end in sight. I could hear things, see things, and feel things not of this world. I asked myself if this was a gift or a curse. With the help of my mother and close friends, I emerged a paranormal investigator. Since 2013, I have been on a relentless journey to learn about the paranormal. I invite you to follow me into the unknown. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. Hello and welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. Thank you for being here. We got another special guest tonight. And by special, I mean someone we actually know in real life. So we got Darrin Smith on the show tonight. He is a tour guide and volunteer at the Old Licking County Jail in Newark, Ohio, which happens to be one of the most active locations that you can publicly investigate in the area, as far as I know. We're going to talk. We're going to let him, kind of give you the details of his involvement at the location. Darrin, rather. I'm tired, man. If I mispronounce your name again, I'll let you punch me the next time we see each other. But hey, man, thanks for jumping on tonight. I know you weren't scheduled tonight, but you jumped on. Missy tells me tonight's actually better for you than when we had you scheduled.
Yeah, next week's pretty busy because we open the haunt next week, and I got inspections and practice and all kinds of rehearsals and everything else. So we're going to be busy.
Good. So I'm glad it worked out that way. We got Missy on the call tonight. She's going to be moderating chat. If you have any questions for Darrin, or if you have anything, you would like to add to the conversation, Missy will be there to let us know everything. So be good, or she'll spank you.
Well, I have a problem.
What?
So I couldn't get my restream to log in. And it says it flagged me for community standards on the NECROMANCER page. So I can only comment on Facebook right now because I don't know what the hell I said or what the heck I did. But
what?
Yeah, it's telling me community standards and it won't let me comment on anything.
On anywhere on Facebook?
On the NECROMANCER page.
Oh my God. And when you go to Restream, it won't let you log in?
It apparently logged me out and it won't let me.
So you need a username and password?
We can... I will just do what I'm doing for right now. I'll just read the questions off of the stream. And
is it asking you for a username and password?
Yes.
I'm going to send it to you. Okay.
Okay.
So you can type it in.
Okay.
Bear with us.
It's fine. I can do that while you're chatting. Just send me the info and I'll...
Okay, there's my email.
Okay.
Here's my password.
Yay.
Let's see if she can type it in. So, Darrin, how long have you been volunteering and tour guide at the jail? It's been a few years, right?
Yeah, I've been there since 2014. And I started doing tours in probably 2016, and then get more involved in the jail with everything else.
So kind of explain to people who don't know what the jail is, where it is, general information about it.
It's 1889 it was built. It's an old historic jail in downtown Newark, Ohio. We do all kinds of events like history tours, flashlight tours, paranormal events. We have private paranormal, eventually get back into the public paranormal events. Right now, everything's closed because we have the Jail of Terror, which is on an attraction that starts next Friday. And we're closed to the public, except for that, until the end of October. And then everything will pick back up as far as paranormal. It's already scheduled, which we're booked for the rest of the season. And then we'll have more paranormal dates booking ready for February to do all of next year.
Nice. So when you started, was it primarily the Jail of Terror that you're involved with?
I started, I entered an ad for someone that could build the haunted attraction as far as build the haunt itself, and just started getting involved in the jail as a volunteer because I was there so much. And of course, had some paranormal experiences to go along with that. And of course, Terry Long was my partner in the haunt, and she was already a ghost hunter and doing the ghost hunts there. So I just started jumping in with her, and she started getting me involved in everything she does, which was the tours and the paranormal, and it just led from there.
So did you have any paranormal experiences before you started working there?
No, I actually didn't even really believe in it. I didn't pay much attention to it. My sister had some issues at her house, and I just kind of made fun of her, and we all laughed about it. But she had some ghost hunters at her house. I think it was in 2014. and had us come over and watch them. And of course, we just made fun of them. It was just a joke to us. But then, of course, working in the jail by myself at night, working on the haunt, and I saw a big black mass. I had all kinds of little things happen, and it scared me. So, of course, I called Terry. She jumped in and said, it's this person, it's that person. So I just started following her around and doing ghost hunting with her, and just took off from there. And then when I started doing all the ghost hunts with her, hosting them, and then I started meeting people like you guys and everybody, and just started getting into the paranormal.
So it must have been quite shocking when you had your experiences at the jail. Like, kind of describe how that felt.
I was in the basement, and of course I didn't know where any lights were. I didn't know where anything was. It was just an old, dark, dirty jail. I was freaked out by it, but I didn't think ghosts. I wasn't thinking ghosts. And I was working real late one night. It was dark, and I only had one light in the basement on, and I noticed the light started fading, and it was in a doorway, and there was a pull chain light on the other side of the doorway. And as I stood up to see who was coming in the door, this black, didn't really have a shape. It was just solid. I couldn't see through it. Just something black went across the doorway. And I jumped up to go see who it was or what it was, and it went backwards the other direction. And of course I freaked out, ran out the back door, called Terry on my way home, and she's like, "Oh, you just saw a black mass." And I'm like, "What the hell is a black mass?" Well, then I started having shadow figures, and it took me a good week to get back in that basement to finish the haunt, because that freaked me out. It was definitely real. Nobody was in the building. It was just me. And I never have seen anything like that since there. Of course, I've had other experiences, but that was pretty freaky.
Can you reenact you running out the door when you saw it for us? I'm just joking.
I was a flash, dude. I ran out and jumped in my van and was gone.
I
wouldn't even go in my own house when I got home. So nobody was home when I got home. And I called my wife. I said, "Where are you at?" She's like, "Oh, we're down at the store." I had to wait till she got home. I wouldn't even get out of the van. I was freaking out because it was real, and I could not come up with an explanation for it. I mean, I can still see it. It's almost like somebody slid a piece of cardboard in front of the door. And it had no shape to it. It was just black. And it, of course, took my light, only light I had, and I couldn't see where I was anything. But when I got up, like I said, it took off the other direction, and I went the opposite direction out the back door.
Wow. So you had to get, you were in where the drunk tank is, if I remember right.
Yeah, the dungeon, the big open area right there. As soon as you turn into the basement there.
You had to kind of go through where you saw it to get out of there then?
No, I went out the back door.
Oh, the back door. Okay.
The back basement door.
Okay.
It leads into the parking lot upstairs, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, you had to be pretty brave to go right through there to get up there to the side.
Yeah, there's no way I was going back through that doorway. It took me a good week to get back in there.
That's interesting. So, do you have a lot of fear of it now, or do you feel more curious and intrigued by it?
Actually, I'm real comfortable in that basement. Have been for the last 4 or 5 years. I've had a lot of experiences down there, personal stuff that happened where my necklace got pulled off during the tours. I've seen shadow figures. I've, of course, seen everything you guys have seen there. I don't have a problem in that building anywhere, really, except for the third floor. It's just a little creepy, but it's not so creepy that I can't go up there.
Right.
I've gotten used to it, and I know I'm not going to get killed, so I'm good to go.
It's important to know that you won't die, right?
Yeah. Not quite what I was thinking that night, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, put anybody in your shoes in that moment, they're going to get out of there. That's just human instinct. What I find interesting is having experiences at such a later stage in your life, because when it first started happening to me, when I first started seeing and experiencing things like that, I was like in my early 20s, and I would have strange experiences that you would I would describe as psychic experiences when I was little, but I wouldn't experience anything like seeing ghosts or shadow things or whatever until my early 20s, until I moved into a house that was like, had that kind of stuff in it. But if I know you've been experimenting and going with, different people to different locations, is there any other locations that you found that would be similar to the jail, or have you had any other equal experiences at other locations?
I've been to a few places. The only one that's really gotten to me so far, still bothers me, was Hinsdale. Nothing like the jail, obviously. It was more of a personal feeling thing. It's not so much I saw a lot. It's just the way I felt. It was totally different. Of course, the jail, I'm comfortable, but it was just, I got real weak, got real tired, just real emotional. And I thought it was just because I was tired, because we went to Wildwood the night before, and then we traveled to Hinsdale. We were up at Wildwood all night, of course, going on an hour sleep and a 5-hour drive, and then go to Hinsdale afterwards. But man, I got drained. And then, of course, went up in the woods, and we were playing around the woods for quite a few hours. And we all had a lot of experiences up there. The house, I think I shut myself off because I had freaked myself out so bad with the woods and the experiences in the woods that I was like, I just didn't want to hear it. I was done. And we all laid down to go to sleep.
What happened in the woods?
It was just, it's hard to explain. I mean, we had a lot of, the normal things you hear that happen up there was just the chanting, the voices, the conversations in the woods, little, I don't know what you want to call them. They're like little gnomes kept appearing in the dark with little, like an orange pen light on them. And it had like a glow around the outer edge of the shape. And you'd see it and your eyes would focus on it, and then it'd be gone and be over there. And then everybody was noticing it. And of course, the walking in the woods, you could hear things walk. I mean, it was just real to me because it was something I'd never experienced. So when we finally went back down to the house, not a whole lot. I mean, we heard footsteps and some whispering, and we didn't get a whole lot of evidence because we didn't do a lot of investigating in the house. It was late. And so when we laid down to go to sleep, I think mentally shut myself off because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to see it. I mean, I did hear footsteps while I was laying there, and we all heard the front door jiggling. And I literally just blocked it out. And from what John Ward says, I fell asleep, obviously, because I was snoring. But a lot of stuff happened while I was asleep. Thank God I missed it because I'd had enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally understand. It kind of sounds like the draining effect is something what people experience quite often. A place will basically start feeding off of you. It will, drain your energy, basically, essentially is what it does.
And we got there early. Me and Jeff got there first. Everybody else was still in the other town going through an antique shop. Me and Jeff headed out to Hinsdale. I think it was like 12:30 in the afternoon we got there. So we were outside most of the day. And I just started getting real weak, real tired. And I just took it that I was tired from the weekend. And then it got to where I was getting real emotional, feeling like sadness and depression. And then everybody started showing up. And then Daniel showed up and let us in the house. And then I started realizing that it wasn't just me. It was because everybody was starting to get drained. Everybody was starting to get tired. But it was normal to them. I've never had that feeling. So it was pretty amazing to know that that's probably what it was. It wasn't just me. And It kind of freaked me out because I hear everybody talk about that, and I've never had that. And when it hit me, it was like, oh, it does happen. It freaked me out. It was scary. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it, though.
Good. I'm glad that it was something that you experienced and didn't have, PTSD or anything, that would turn you away from experiencing it. You like the beard, John?
Thanks, man. It's too high maintenance. I don't know why I haven't shaved it off my damn face. Everything I drink and eat gets saturated around here, and it drives me insane. So yeah, Missy, real quick, kind of shout out everybody in the chat. If we had any questions or comments.
I got Antonio, I have Troy Haney, I have Josh Bender, I have Gina Rutledge, Derek Schreiner, Sharon, Christy. I think that's it.
John Ward is there. Did you mention him?
John Ward. I think I did. No questions.
Darren's mother's in the house.
Darren's mama is here. Christy said she was gonna have to go to jail with us the next time we went up.
Christy's got a boot on her foot. She went to the foot doctor today, and she has 2 bones that are trying to fuse together in her fucking foot.
Great.
So hopefully that don't cause a lot of issues for her getting around. She's got to work in that thing. So I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to pan out. So here we are, Darrin. You've been doing the jail for a while. I know when we were up there and we shot an episode for our YouTube series, I remember you were not super hyped about being on camera, but I thought that you did really good. And I found it interesting that our group did things so much differently from all the other groups that you see. Like, you see a lot of paranormal groups come through the jail, right?
Yeah. Tons of different styles and different ways that people investigate. Yeah, I've seen quite a few.
Mm-hmm. And it almost feels like that we had, there was a connection there, that we, had a similar serious interest in what we call the paranormal and wanting to find out more, in the best way possible. The way Interface Death approaches things is vastly different than what I see most people do. When we first started, it was very similar for what a lot of people do, because the only guide we really had was paranormal television. We didn't have experience. We didn't have, somebody that's been in the field for a long time to tell us what to do or not what to do. And that's how we got started. But after doing it for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years and on, you learn that, what to study, what to look for, how the mind works, what is the best approach on focusing in on certain types of phenomena. Like, when you go to a location and it has claims, how to actually investigate the claims. And I know the jail, one of the things that I found interesting was a photo that you had up in the matron's quarters of an entity that you called David. And I know there was a former group that used to run public events out of there, and they, stop me if I'm wrong, one of their members had taken the photo.
Yeah.
What it looked like to me was something that I probably could do with a camera if I had someone helping me. So me and Derek kind of went upstairs, and I had him stand in front of the window where the picture was taken. And what I did was I slowed the shutter speed way down, and I had him, when I hit the shutter, I had him stand there and then move out of frame. So what that kind of does is it makes you look translucent, like you're see-through. And I guess it was intriguing enough that you guys decided to take down the photo after that. That's what happened, wasn't it?
Yeah, we decided, since it could be replicated, that we'd take it down, because of course me and Terry weren't there when the picture was taken. And you get a lot of groups that come in. We've even had, I know of 2 groups that have come in over the last 5 or 6 years that they call themselves paranormal ghost hunters. They pay, they do everything normal. They show up with all their gear, but they're actually debunkers. And what they'll do is they'll go through your tour, listen to all your history, and your claims, and then they'll investigate those claims and they try to see if you're faking anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a lot of groups that do that. And then if they find that you're faking something, then they'll blow you up on social media and make you look bad. So what Terry's like, let's just take that picture down. If it can be replicated or somebody can reproduce it, anything like it, I don't want to be a part of anything fake. And if we weren't there when it happened, obviously we're going to take it down. I mean, we put pictures up of stuff we've taken, or we have a book that we fill out all our claims. But anything that's happened that we weren't there, you just got to watch. I'm sure Adam and everybody that owns the locations heard of these groups coming in and doing that. But the last one we had in there, I wasn't there. It was Holly and Terry. And they actually announced that that's what they were there for. And they stuck to the history, stuck to the claims, and they investigated, and that we didn't get anything bad out of it. They actually left us a good review. So it's just stuff like that you got to watch. I mean, we've definitely experienced that entity up there. You guys have, everybody's, or something up there. We don't know who it is. We just took that story from the group that was there before and continued it. So that's why we call him David. We don't know if that's actually his name. But you just got to be careful what you put out so people see it, and they're going to try and debunk it.
Right. What's up, Brent? I see you there. Yeah, I definitely don't identify as like a debunking group, but that's part of what we do. A lot of photographic evidence that I see, since my background is in photography, I have more knowledge than most people that are just like your normal ghost hunter. So when I saw that, I was like, I would. Here's the thing: if you get a photo that looks like slow exposure time, you can't prove that's what it was. You can just offer as a possible explanation. Yeah. You know what I mean? It definitely could have been something legitimately paranormal, but there's no way to know. But what you want to try to do is look at possibilities that are outside of it being a ghost or whatever, because all we can really do is come up with ideas and possibilities what things could be. Now, of course, when you're there and you experience something like seeing a shadow figure that blocks out the damn light and there's no other explanation for it, that's what we genuinely experience as a ghost or a paranormal entity. That's just because we don't know what it is, and that's all the folklore and all the stories you hear, it falls into that line of that definition that you hear. But no one really knows what the hell a haunting is or what's going on. We just have ideas. We just have feelings, intuitions, all that kind of stuff, which I find interesting is, psychic phenomena. I've had psychic experience my whole life, and it only gets worse. It only gets more and more. My mom is super weird, as you know, and we probably investigate ourselves more than we do locations. Like, if we feel like we have a sixth sense or a psychic ability, we investigate those abilities while we're investigating haunted locations. And I thought that that's what was kind of unique about our group, because we had Jess in there, we had Missy in there, we had them do readings of the location before they went, and of course during. And that's one of the funnest things I think that we do. What did you think about that when we investigated the jail? Did you find that interesting?
Yeah, that's when I first met you guys. That was the first time I'd experienced when Jess did her reading. That's the first time. I mean, we've been around so many people that say they're psychic. I'm not saying they're not, but I've never heard anybody hit dead on like Jess did and Missy and their claims and what they were feeling. That's when I really started getting into it. That's why watching you guys and learning that part of it made me more knowledgeable and more experienced in trying to learn. So when I went to Hinsdale, that's all those feelings, I could feel it. And I was like, learned it from you guys, basically, and other people too. But Jess was dead on, and that which totally impressed me.
Yeah, it is impressive. You know, when you know that there's something that's beyond coincidence or guessing, you have to ask yourself, well, what is that? You know, are they getting the information from a spirit? Are they just pulling it out of the air? Where is that coming from? And those are the questions I ask. And the more and more we study it, the more it seems like the things that exist, death, our consciousness seemingly somehow goes on while our body dies. Our eyes, we don't have eyes, we can't see anything. We don't have ears, we can't hear anything. We don't have mouths, we can't say anything. Yet there's people, there's things seeing us, hearing us, they're speaking to us. How are they doing that? Right?
Yeah,
So,
it's weird.
Watching us.
Yeah, they're seeing us and watching us. How are they doing that? So it's almost like an impossible endeavor to try to figure that out, but it's not stopping us.
That's what makes it interesting, because we don't know. That's what keeps me going in it, because you never know. You don't know, and there's nobody right or wrong. That's what's good about this community. I mean, yeah, you got people that say they're psychics that you just kind of question, but watching somebody come in there and how they act compared to other people and all the different people and different psychics doing different things, there's a lot of them that have impressed me, and a lot of them that, you know, this is your average. You know, we have one in town that hangs out at the jail a lot, Beth, and she gets stuff that other psychics get, and there's other psychics that come in, or mediums, whatever you want to call them, that hear different voices, different things, and come up with some of the weirdest stuff. And then 2 weeks later, after they've been there, you look into the history or look into a story, and what you just mentioned 2 weeks ago that you didn't know, she brought up. So
Right.
it's that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, John Ward says we're all energy. And that's a key to understanding what it is, but to find a mechanism and a language to express how it all works is the tricky part. Okay, yeah, we're all energy, but that doesn't explain how we're able to survive death and how these entities can interact with our physical living world. I, of course, have models, but this is not the time or the show to kind of get into that unless you want me to. But yes, it involves energy. Gina says, as a viewer and follower, it's awesome to be able to watch you guys experience and discover as it's happening. I bet it is.
Supernatural Lost Adventures ask how. LOL.
How
We
what?
were talking about the psychic phenom and everything.
How do the psychics do it? How do psychics do what they do? Is that what he's asking?
I think so.
Supernatural, if you can kind of elaborate on your question, we would be glad to try to answer it, man. I just want to make sure I know what you're asking before we attempt to answer it. John says, wasn't there research being done that showed the exact moment that someone dies, their energy leaves the body in some strange way? Yes. McDougall in the early 1900s was... he had a scale, and he was at a medical facility where people had tuberculosis, I believe, or they had terminal illnesses, and he would have their bodies on the scale, and when they died, he would weigh them, because his idea was the soul weighed a certain amount. And some of the bodies that he measured when they died weighed around 20 or 21 grams less than they did when they were living. Of course, a lot of people scrutinized this study, but when I looked into it, the average person weighs around 180. If you take out 180 pounds, if you take everybody in the world and kind of average weight, it's anywhere from 150 to 180 pounds. And interestingly enough, if you take all the electrons in the human body and weighed them, it's 21 grams. So I have a theory that there is an electron discharge when you die. And you quickly, if that's true, you quickly regain those electrons through a static discharge. But I would love to be able to do experiences like that. And I talked to a guy at Gettysburg who actually has the ability to do that study. And that's somebody that Missy needs to get on the show.
Who?
Don.
Okay. Yeah. Haunted MD.
Yeah, Haunted MD. He would be super interesting for you guys to listen to.
Supernatural Lost Adventures said, I was just repeating what Justin was saying. It's hard to explain how things are and happen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is hard, for sure.
Josh had a question. He said, do you have a special connection to the jail now that you've been going there for so many years? Do you think the spirits see you as a friend?
Me or Justin?
You.
Oh, I think they do kind of get used to you being there, because there's things that happen, like to me or while we're there, that doesn't happen when there's teams there investigating. So it's like the necklace being pulled off. It's a long story, but basically, during history tours, those years we weren't allowed to talk about paranormal. They didn't want to ruin the history for people that were there for history, so we didn't talk about ghost hunting. And it was expressed to us one night when we were doing tours, do not talk about the ghost hunts unless they ask. So I didn't, and this one lady in the group did say she didn't want to hear it, blah, blah, blah. So at the end of the tour, it was like they didn't get talked about. We didn't talk about experiences, and I think that's what it was. It was a personal, like, hey, you're not talking about me, you're not mentioning me. But there's things that happen to us personally. There's things that move around that you put down that gets moved. That kind of stuff just doesn't happen to everybody. It just happens to, like, me and Terry and the people that work there every day. And plus, it's more comfortable of a feeling for me to be there now. So it's like, to me, that's them getting used to us being there. I don't know, maybe it's just in my head, but personally, that's what I think, yes.
I mean, if you're experiencing things that are described as a haunting, it's not. I know what you're saying about it being in your head, but you could say the same thing about any relationship. Well, is our relationship real, or is it all in my head? You know what I mean? They're there. Yeah. They know that they're there, and they know you're there. So there is a relationship. It's kind of hard to understand the dynamic and the connection you have, but there is a relationship, and it's definitely not in your head. And I was gonna say that in my experience, when the spirits, the ghosts, whatever you want to say, want you to know that they're there, they will let you know.
Oh yeah.
They will let you know. For sure.
And I notice when Terry's there, there's things that happen only when Terry's there with me. Just for instance, like when we do, how our tours work with the ghost hunters, if they want a full history tour with claims, give them that option. And every time we're on the fourth floor, she usually does all the fourth floor speaking because she tells the May story and all that. There's a woman's voice that comes over Terry to where everybody in the group can hear it. Everybody's heard it. Of course, everybody gets quiet and you don't hear it again. But lately, Terry hasn't been doing ghost hunts. It's just been me because of her health and everything. So I haven't had that voice happen, but maybe once in the last year of doing all these ghost hunts for people. So to me, it's like when Terry's there, the whole place ramps up anyway because she's high energy, she's hyper. But there's someone up there that's either correcting her or knows her well enough and speaks, and it's a female's voice.
I think the de-sucking method should be explained. What's the de-sucking method?
It's Jeff Fent. When we all went up to New York to Hinsdale that weekend, Ace Taylor purchased a doll from Terry, and with all her health problems, it took her about a year before she actually got it done, and finally finished it up so I could take it with me. Of course, he didn't know it was coming. And, Ace, he was all excited and just all emotional about this doll. And it was a creepy ass doll. And Jeff Fent kept saying it was sucking his soul. So that's what we called the doll, was the soul sucker. Of course, he took it into Wildwood. It went every room with us in Wildwood. Everywhere we went in Hinsdale, it was with us. And then at the end of the, towards the end of the night at Hinsdale, Jeff kept dozing off on the couch while we were on Facebook Live. And he said he was de-sucking because his soul had been sucked by the doll. I mean, you just had to be there. It was a tired moment type thing. But we just couldn't stop saying it, and it just kept repeating it. And Jeff was sitting there on the couch trying to sleep, and we wouldn't let him sleep. It was a long story, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit you come up with when you're tired and you're trying to entertain yourself. I know all too well about it. We got Arden Paranormal in the house. What's up, Arden? I know Heath, he volunteers and works at the hospital down in Tennessee. Help me remember the damn name of the hospital, Heath. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, I believe it's called. And we probably should get Heath on the show to talk about it. If you're interested in doing that, let me know, Heath. Because I want to, or me or Missy, it doesn't matter. Missy definitely helps with getting people on the show.
But I need to schedule for September and October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think October A1 only has 2 softball tournaments, but other than that, I don't have a lot going on. There's another hint, Missy.
Right?
Yep.
Slacking, Josh. You gotta help me.
Josh needs to get some people on.
No,
he does.
Yes.
I'll be a guest. He's too anal. His shop isn't finished, and he's not going to have time to finish it because he's got to do some stuff around the house before winter comes, and he doesn't want people to see his unfinished shop. That's his excuse.
Paint booth is finished. He can do the damn interview in the paint booth.
I think he should go outside in his front yard, and he should sit with the bear, and we should interview the bear that keeps on getting into his trash.
There you go. We'll just interview the bear.
And we'll let
You just want me to come down there and finish the shop for you, Josh.
John Ward mentioned that he liked the shop that you were sitting in, Darrin.
Oh yeah, my studio. Yeah, it's I just redid it. It was a mess. And of course, I haven't done anything in here. I haven't had time, but I don't know if I will.
Do you want to talk about what you do as a hobby, like the paper mache stuff?
Yeah, I make paper mache clay pumpkins and Halloween decorations in my spare time if I have it.
You see one back there past him sitting on the counter there.
Yeah, there's one back there, and I don't have a whole lot of them around. I have a few up there, but I haven't been making any this year. It's been too busy. Usually I do it in the winter when I'm bored, but now with the jail tear back open, and I'll be busy until the end of October, obviously.
He said, "Come on down, buddy."
I was going to go down and help him, but of course I just don't have time off.
Holly says she has a pumpkin.
Yeah, Holly won one of my pumpkins.
I'm going to see a bear.
Nice. Yeah, I need to get Darrin to do something for me, but I have to think about what I want because I'm weirder than Ace. I'm going to want something really bizarre.
That's who you need to get on your show.
I do. There's a lot of, people like you, Ace, and a whole bunch of people that I just want to have on the show. I just want to talk to just normal people. Like I'm normal. I want to talk to normal people. It's really hard to get people that are busy or that are on, paranormal TV or whatever, on the shows. And that seems like what most people try to shoot for. But I'd rather just talk to people that, I haven't really got a chance to talk to, that I've known for a while on social media, that share similar interests and, that are just normal blue collar people.
Getting Ace to do a podcast would be nearly impossible. We just had that talk last week. Everybody wants him to do one, he just won't do one. And if Holly doesn't have him do hers first,
I bet I can get him to do it. So he wouldn't do. Did Holly already ask him to do it, and he wouldn't?
He has, yeah.
He wouldn't do it.
He will do hers first, or she's gonna be pissed.
Oh, so if he comes on my show first, Holly, are you going to be mad? Are you be jealous? I don't have one of Terry's dolls either. I'm not into that type of stuff, but it would be cool to have one, at least one.
Christy would kill you if she had to look at a doll every night.
Does Christy know what her dolls look like? Justin plus normal equals not normal. Yeah. Yeah, if you looked at my table over there, it definitely isn't like a normal dude's table. I have a coffee table in my bedroom over here. It's got a deer skull with, a crow wing fashioned into a prayer fan. I got 3 or 4 prayer fans over there. I got about.
We weren't into beards either, but look at you.
I'm a pretender when it comes to the beards. I'm not into them. Make no mistake. You may like the way it looks, but I don't think it particularly improves my image at all. It feels fucking horrible on my face. I can't stand it.
Christy said, "Nope, I have no clue what they look like."
Oh, do you have one? Do you have one of her dolls, Darrin?
Yeah, let me grab it.
Yeah, let my wife feast her eyes upon the dolls. Let her check them out. Yes, Arden, you're gonna see about $2,000 or more in crystals over there. Oh, there you go. There you go, Christy. That's one of them.
Yeah, that one's all ceramic. It's hard to see.
Oh no, we can see it just fine. What she does is she gets old dolls and she turns them into a nightmare, basically.
Yeah, she's a hell of an artist. You can't see it, but even on the knuckles, it says "long" on one hand and "doll." Or "long gone." Long
gone. Yeah, that's a nice touch. The one that Ace got up at MadCon was pretty cool.
Oh, the Annabelle doll. Yeah, that was a good one.
You don't want that to be in our bedroom, Christy? Why not?
Wouldn't hurt you. It's just a doll.
I think my favorite one though is Penny, the one that she made Josh Bender. That thing is amazing.
Yeah, and that's the first one she did from someone's ideas. Usually she doesn't take suggestions. She'll just make a doll. Mm-hmm. And Josh was the first one she was panic stricken. She kept calling me going, "Oh my God, he wants this. How am I?" Just do it. You can do it. But you're doing something to someone's specs. That's the same with me. I'd rather just do my own thing and hope you like it. That's the way she is too. But that one stressed her out.
I'm glad she did it. I'm glad that she followed through with it.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that one.
Terry makes them, Christy.
Yeah, if you go on Facebook, what's her page called? Long Gone Dolls.
Yeah, Long Gone Dolls.
Yeah.
There's another one of hers up there in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Back there. That one's just one she whipped together one year, and she's like, "You want this thing? I'm throwing it away." I'm like, "Yeah, don't throw it away." This one, she started when she was working on Josh's pumpkin, and I was at the house, and it was just sitting there as a regular doll, and she had the hair on it, and she hadn't started. She usually takes the skull cap off and redoes the eyeballs from the inside, and she had the skull cap off, and I'm like, "What's this one going to be?" And she goes, "I don't know yet." She goes, "Doing Josh's, I'm going to practice and start on a clown," and it ended up like that. And I said, "I want that one. I want to see it," because I've actually watched it start from nothing to what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. There's a lot of people who collect that stuff. I think Ace is the most he's the most what's the word, obsessed person when it comes to that type of thing that I know.
He's got three of her dolls. Yeah.
But doesn't he have
One
a
I
whole
took
like?
her and-
Doesn't he have like a whole area in his home dedicated to creepy horror genre shit?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Christy said, sounds like a Christmas present for my sister.
Yeah. Oh, her sister, I think, is scared of clowns.
We get her little dumpster to go with it.
Oh my God, Missy. Oh my God. So, any recent experiences at the jail that you've had that kind of stand out, or anything that has happened this year that's like new and different?
It kind of sounds boring, but there's been a sound coming out of the basement or somewhere in that building it shakes the building. It's like something fell. And I don't know how many of you have been there recently, but we got the elevators running, so all the fire doors are off the elevator openings and leaning on the walls. And they're big steel heavy fire doors. So it sounds like one of those has just been knocked over and hit the floor. And there's several teams that have experienced it. I've heard it while I'm there. It comes from the basement dungeon side, but we have yet to I mean, it thumps inside the building so loud. Terry can tell you about it. I mean, we've even had investigators turn on all the breakers, turn on all the lights, and look for something to be laying down. And of course, I know where everything's in that jail, sitting and leaning, and there's nothing. It's like the whole building shifts or bangs, or I don't know what it is. And it's not the train outside, which a lot of people thought was, but it's not.
That's interesting because well, I was going to say that is a common thing that happens in haunted locations. But the fact that that's just now happening is weird.
Yeah, we've been hearing it a lot while they're investigating, or when I'm there by myself, because after ghost hunts, I'll go back in the next day and do my money drawer and a deposit. And I've had it happen when I'm there by myself. I've had it happen during tours, just regular history tours. And God, I can't figure out what it is. I have no idea what it is, but if you're in the office area, you can actually tell it's in the building. It's not outside. And the other one is I keep hearing a box. Sounds like a cardboard box being slid across the basement floor. Like the grit on the floor. If you had a cardboard box with a bunch of crap in it and you were dragging it. Mm-hmm. I hear that constantly, and I run down there, and there's nothing. I have no idea. A couple other people have heard it, but that's like a new thing now. We get new things that happen. They'll happen for a while, and then it just slows down, and it doesn't do it anymore. But the box thing, it's crazy.
You have to explain this to me because I don't remember seeing anything about it. John said, I think one of the coolest things from there recently was them pulling a hatchet out of the ceiling partition during renovations.
Oh, the meat cleaver. When the health department came in, they made us tear all the drywall and stuff down in the chapel, and because it was holding moisture and it was starting to get moldy. And the drywall was there because in the 70s they made the chapel the actual main kitchen of the jail. So me and Chris decided just to go in there on a weekend and tear all the studs out, all the drywall, all the plaster off the ceilings, and clean it all out. And of course, I took all the plaster out around all the conduits up over the lath, everything. And later that year, a couple months later, we were doing the haunted attraction, and Chris was hanging a piece of conduit for a clothes rack. And one of the sections of ceilings, there's probably 12 or 15 conduits that bend and go into the ceiling where all the plaster was around it. I spent a good half an hour peeling plaster around all those conduits. And Chris stepped up on the ladder to hang a little piece of wire, and he's like, how did you not see this? And he pulls it out. Laying on top of those conduits was a good-sized meat cleaver. It's up in our merchandise room now. We have no idea where in the hell it came from, other than the fact that it was a kitchen for a while. Maybe a trustee might have slid it up there when he was working.
Yeah,
hard to tell.
That's what I was thinking. What's up, Robert? Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Yeah, there's a lot of things that trustees hide in kitchens, and knives are definitely one of them. My wife used to work at a couple jails in the kitchens at jails, and she would definitely find shit stashed all the time like that.
That's a reasonable explanation for it. I mean, it's not an old one. And like I said, the kitchen was in there in the 70s and until it closed in 87. So that's most likely. But it is freaky that I was up there for half hour in that spot and never saw the damn thing. Mm-hmm. And how it ended up there, I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely weird, man. It's not something you expect to see when you're doing that. So, I know that you had mentioned that you had started feeling strange when you were at the Hinsdale house. Do you feel like you've been opening up to more to the paranormal, or do you feel like it just had something to do with the Hinsdale house?
I think it's a little of both. Of course, I don't know, but I mean, and that's one thing John Ward said to me after the trip was over is, you need to learn how to, if you're going to want to experience this stuff, you're going to have to learn how to open yourself up to it. And of course, I don't know how to open myself up, but do whatever happened up there is definitely real. And that's what made me realize paranormal is real, because all the other locations I've been to, I never had anything real exciting happen. I mean, yeah, things have happened, footsteps and your normal think you saw a shadow, that kind of stuff. But this was with me and personally. And all the way home, I thought about it, riding home with Jeff. And I'm like, I didn't talk to Jeff much about it, but it was definitely real. And I don't know if I opened myself up or if it's just the Hinsdale house. I don't know. A lot of what I felt, though, is what a lot of people, I've been watching stories and documentaries on it since, and they all say the same thing.
Which is?
The emotional feelings and the draw, the energy draw, everything I experienced there, everybody else has claimed. And a few of them, some of the stories that I've heard since I've been up there, it was just like, I kind of felt that too, so I don't know if it's me just opening up or if it is the Hinsdale house. It might just be a little of both, because we went to Wildwood the night before and it was the same thing. It had a lot of neat little things happen, a lot of unexplainable things. Nothing out of the ordinary for a ghost hunt, but it hit at the Hinsdale was definitely different.
So, did you get a historical tour at all when you were there?
No, Daniel showed up. He had to hurry up and get back in town. His daughter had a softball game or something like that, but he didn't really give us everybody that was there has been there before but me, so I don't know if he didn't want to give one, but I knew most of the history just from watching shows and hearing everybody else talk. But he did show us a few things that he had found recently of the dandies that was left up in the attic and stuff like that.
What I've noticed about locations like that, people tend to connect to small old homes in different ways. Jails, asylums, hospitals, older, bigger buildings that have history doesn't really hit like the old farmhouse or the old, those old houses in the middle of nowhere. It kind of connects with you in a personal way. And when places like that hold energy that most anybody can relate to, as far as abuse, dysfunctional family stuff, trauma that kind of goes along with things could happen in those types of homes over time. It hits different, and it's easier to connect with because the building is small, and it's not like you're walking into Waverly Hills and you don't instantly connect with a place like that because, for one, most of us don't know what it's like to be in a tuberculosis hospital dying. It takes more effort to connect with something like that. But Hinsdale House, Monroe House, stuff like that hits different. So I'm glad that you were able to experience that, because there's something to do with our own personal experiences, the psyche, our emotions. It has something to do with the paranormal, whether it is something that we leave behind or imprint the environment with, and later on when we come back to these locations, how they manifest again. It's almost like, you know, it's embedded into that place, and when you go back to those locations, especially with under the mindset that you want to experience something or you want to know about what's there, it's almost like you're extracting it out of the environment in a way. And that's one of the models I have.
A lot of people, I did watch, I can't remember his name. I watched one of his documentaries, and he was trying to figure out whether it was an entity that was doing this, to the same, you know, drawing people back to the Hinsdale, because Daniel said a lot of people get obsessed with the place where they want to keep going back. And so he did an experiment to see if it was the house itself that was drawing the energy. Like, you get there, it draws all your energy out, it feeds off your energy. And of course, when you leave, it makes you feel like you need to go back. And he was trying to see if it was an actual entity or the house itself, the grounds. Oh, I can't remember his last name or who he is. He's from Cincinnati. They did Hellier, the guy that did Hellier.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
Him and his wife, yeah. He did a pretty interesting story on it, and they were talking about it, the house holding its own energy, and it was its own entity that wasn't an actual spirit. It's kind of hard to understand, but it was neat. It was pretty interesting.
Well, me, my mother, and other people have beliefs that homes do become alive. They form a consciousness, and they become an entity of themselves. And, you know, I found that to be true about the Monroe house and most houses that have things happen in them. And, you know, especially when people go back to visit them and do investigations, they take on a personality of their own. And it's really fascinating. I'm really curious, did they do a documentary or any type of video content on their experiment? Do you know of?
Series. It was Hinsdale House Part 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I think it's called Haunt Me is the name of the group, the channel.
Okay.
Haunt Me isn't his channel, but he was a part of that group just for that experience. It's really interesting, and he's interesting anyway, him and his wife, but I really got into that because the things that were happening, and they were talking to recorders and, like, you know, just like we all do, and asking the questions that, you know, are you an entity, or is this just interesting questions that he was trying to. They did screen mirrors, they did all kinds of stuff, and of course I don't understand all that, but I did get something out of it, thinking, you know, everything they were feeling. They had a safe spot out in the backyard, which was the fire pit. So when they'd start feeling drawn or depressed or anxious, they'd go out to the fire pit. And that's the only place I could find that made me feel better, was when we were sitting around that fire pit every couple hours. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see the documentary until after I went, obviously. But I can't remember. Is it Greg Newkirk, I think is his name? Yeah,
that's it, Greg. And I think his wife's name's Dana, that's it. Missy I am hearing it too. Is there people talking over at your place, Derek?
Like right now?
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. That was weird.
Yeah, let's just sit here and listen to Darren's wife talking to the phone.
I have no idea if it's
Now they're not saying anything.
Yeah, she's on the phone upstairs.
Yeah.
The living room's right above me.
Yeah, I just assumed someone was over there talking to somebody else. Yeah. Have you been to the Monroe house, Darrin?
No. This whole thing started because I think it was either Goose's show or Sean's show I was a guest on. and they threw a question at me. I think it was Sean Gilmore's show, and he said, "What's your bucket list location to visit since you don't get to investigate?" And I just blurted out Hinsdale House. About 20 minutes later, Eddie Pence messaged me and said, "Dude, I have an investigation up there. You're going." So Holly and Ken and me and Jeff and John Ward took off and went. It was like 6 months later, but I'm kind of glad I went. But if they would have asked me to go to Monroe, I'm not interested. I'm not ready for that place yet. I don't think Hinsdale was enough.
Yeah, Monroe House is probably the most darkest place as far as that type of location that I've been to. But I'm sure there's darker locations out there. Willow's Weep was kind of similar, but not. It's just what happened at the Monroe House is fucked up.
Yeah, I've heard people, of course, like you said, I see a lot of ghost hunters and they tell me all their stories. That's how I hear half of these stories. And some of them will say, "Oh, I didn't have anything at Monroe House. It was dead quiet. I fell asleep or I slept overnight or whatever." But there's other people, I've heard other things, and I'm like, I just don't want to go there yet. I'm not ready for that kind of stuff yet.
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, there's no shame in that. Yeah, John, I've interviewed quite a few people that's had similar experiences like that. Yep, it's not every location's fun and games, that's for sure. So,
said congratulations on the award, Darrin.
Yep, that was pretty cool that they gave it to you. It's I think you earned it. That's for damn sure. I was going to ask you, do you have any other bucket list locations? Like if you could choose to go to another haunted location, where would it be?
I'll have to think about it this time because I had somebody come on here and tell me I'm invited. I'll have to go. Me and John and the group that I went to New York with are talking about going to St. Albans, which I've been looking into that one.
That'd be a cool place. I haven't been there.
There's a lot of them. There's none of them I wouldn't go to except for Monroe right now. I don't think I'm ready for that, but kind of wanted to go to Indiana State. Watching everybody go there.
That place is cool, dude.
Just don't fall through there.
Yeah. Didn't somebody fall who fell in the hole there?
I did.
It was you?
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
I fell through the fucking ground. It was right where the tuberculosis, the TB hospital, they didn't fill in, well, they maybe filled in all the subfloors, all the basement area, but I guess some had settled. And dude, I was just walking, it looked like all solid earth, and I just fell into the ground. And I'm lucky my leg and foot landed on roots, because when I looked down in the hole, it looked deep.
Oh, it was Addie. Addie fell in a hole in the ground outside at ISS. A manhole, I think it was. She just went right into the hole and messed her legs up. That's who I was thinking of. But yeah, you fell too. I kind of remember both of them.
I fell through the ground. The ground opened up and tried to eat me, dude.
The portal.
It was trying to swallow me. Felt like I was in the Poltergeist. Yeah, that place is definitely somewhere you need to check out.
But John's got me interested in St. Albans now, and they were talking just before the show started in the group chat about setting up for next spring sometime.
Looking at it reminds me kind of Madison Seminary.
Yeah.
In a way.
I've been to Prospect Place with Antonio's group, but I'm going with John Ward in November and Eddie Pence, and I think Mike Hatcher. So that's an easy one. That's a 20-minute drive for me. I don't have a problem with that.
You're going back to Prospect?
Yeah, John wants to go, so he's going to book it, and we're going to just go down there for a night.
It's a super cool location. It's a beautiful location, but not as active as I would, as you would hope. Hopefully you guys get more than I have in my visits there.
Yeah, I was with Antonio. We were in the basement down there, and we did have a lot of weird things happening down there as far as shadow figures. They had seen one the night before I come down with them. So they put me next to the door where they saw it. And actually the room across from it's where I saw a shadow walk across. And of course we kept seeing him over by the door going into the basement. It's not light play because there's no light down there when the door's shut. I mean, obviously, but there was some strange stuff going on in the barn itself. Antonio had some experiences in there. It's pretty dramatic, but the only experience I had in there was the bat that came flying out of the hayloft while we were looking through a thermal, looking up at it, and it came straight down, hit my glasses off my head. And
really?
pretty much the end of the barn.
It knocked your glasses off your head?
No, it came straight. We were looking through a tablet, holding it up. One of his guys was showing me something that was weird looking up inside, and all of a sudden this bat just came right into view. As soon as we docked, it took my glasses right off my head.
Damn.
I'm like, all right, I'm done. That place is loaded with bats. They're everywhere, outside, inside. But that was the only experience I had in the barn.
It's like the House of Wills. Oh, I guess because of a weird layout. Yeah, House of Wills is like, that's a place you need to go check out, dude.
I probably would pass on that one. I've heard enough about that one. I think I could pass.
Yeah, that's a unique location, and it's dark. It's definitely dark.
That and the neighborhood's not that great.
It is not. It is not. It is not. Yeah, Matt Benton tried to get me killed up there. You remember what he had me do, right?
Something about a photo shoot outside and blood and fake blood.
No, it was not. It was not fake. It was his own blood.
His own blood.
Yeah, Matt Benton doesn't. If Matt Benton doesn't do anything fake, he had his mom's an EMT, right? So she has him draw out 3 vials of his blood, and he takes it to the House of Wills to do this photo shoot. Now, with the cover of that location for Man vs. Paranormal, he's holding a crucifix, and his arm is holding the crucifix, and it's the shot of the front of the House of Wills, but there's blood running down his arm and all over top of the crucifix. So here he is pouring blood down his arm, and behind the scenes look of it is I got a tripod, a camera with a monitor out there zoomed in on the blood drain on his arm right in the front of House of Wills in the middle of the day. And there's people driving by there constantly screaming at the location, calling Eric Freeman a devil worshiper. We're going to fucking kill you. Like, they had him freaked out. He wouldn't even sleep there. So if Eric Freeman,
that stuff year round.
Yeah, if Eric Freeman doesn't want to hang out there, why the hell should I be out there filming somebody an evil scene like that? Like, dude, I was like, if I get shot because of this, I hope you fucking go to hell. Dude, I was so pissed.
I can see him doing that. He's pretty dramatic.
Yes, he is. So that whole area is bad, but that location, certain people, it's not good for them to be in there. It's a lovely neighborhood if you're a criminal. Not really, dude. Not really. People get shot and stabbed up there daily. It's real bad.
John Ward said it looks like the neighborhood up there makes downtown Newark look like the Beverly Hills.
I know, dude. It makes it look like paradise. It's it's bad. It's real bad.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one.
Dude, there is some crazy shit in there. Like, we got access to this. Eric's got a storage room where he keeps stuff that's like an overflow. He's like a collector of weird, crazy shit. And I don't know if you've seen any of Matt Benton's videos where there's a behind-the-scenes thing where me and Matt did research on people that went there, and Eric has this sculpture that he made of Jesus fucking Mary Magdalene, and they're sawed in half, okay, like from their heads through all the way through their asses, and on one side they look normal, as normal as you can look in that scene. On the other side, all their internal organs are exposed. Okay? That's one thing in this room. There's like 1,000 things in this room like that, but that's one of them. Of course, he has this normal, storage in there. Another thing that was weird in there, there's two other things that's weird in this room. There was a mannequin that had these doors on its torso that you could open up to see what was inside the chest, and inside was a fetus that was crucified upside down on a cross inside of this thing.
Benton's probably loving that.
I have photos of this location if you guys want to check out our Instagram. There was a pile of mannequins in there. It just fucked up.
And said I heard someone broke that statue.
Someone broke it? Oh shit.
John Ward said we were there in early spring and it was cold and rainy night, and I went out to smoke a cigarette and this crackhead peeked his head out from the awning and in this real deep voice asked, "Did I scare you?"
Like, yeah, dude, that's
people know.
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, those people know what you're doing in there, and they love it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, but dude, there's this like Masonic theater in there. It's fucking badass, and he's got these demonic wooden burnt like sculptures in there, like set up in there. Dude, it's the most evil fucked up place you could imagine. Imagine a Satanist got a hold of a Masonic temple turned into a funeral home.
God. We were invited up there. Me and Terry had some kind of a photo shoot. I don't remember. It was some Night Storm Photography had about 50 models, and I don't know, some kind of weird photo shoot where a bunch of photographers were paying to come. And he invited me and Terry to come up the following weekend to the House of Wills, which back then I didn't know what the hell the House of Wills was. And Terry looked at me and I'm like, yeah, we might have to cruise up. He goes, well, I got a photo shoot. You guys are more than welcome to come up, hang out for the day, investigate while we're doing our shoot. And Terry's like, we're not going up there. I was like, all right. I didn't know anything about the place. I'm just kind of glad I didn't go now.
You should definitely check it out. Don't worry. You'll be fine. You might get shot. That's the worst that would happen.
For your bulletproof vest.
For sure. Yeah, House of Wills was a place I was wanting to check out, and fortunately, I got to go up there when I was working with Matt that one time in band camp. But yeah, there's a lot of places that we all covet and we all want to check out. Haven't been to the Hinsdale house yet.
Matt, I want to see you go. I want to see what happens when you go up there and what you get out of it. So the first thing I said when I was on my way home was like, I want to see if Justin comes up here. But oh no, that was Wildwood. Wildwood had an interface death sticker on the doorway where everybody signs their names and Deadlight's business card.
Really?
Josh was like, neither one of us have ever been there. And I'm like, well, your card's hanging on the wall.
That's fucking awesome. I wonder who put.
I thought you guys both been there.
Okay, guys, someone in this chat put that up there. Confess who it is. I bet you it was somebody in this chat.
Oh, there's 1,000 names on his door frames everywhere, and all of us know everybody on those doors, most of them. So the first thing I saw was Deadlight and Interface Death. They're both on the same doorway.
Uh-oh. He's lagging.
The kitchen. One.
Darrin, can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear us now? No? I love this when it happens. I wish he was still... Okay, you're breaking up really bad. Let's see if you're connected. Oh, okay, you're back now. I think. Yeah, you're back now.
I can hear everything you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, you froze up there, and it was funny because you were stuck with your arms up in the air.
I see it on my phone.
Vendor said free swag for anyone who can prove that they left my business card at Wildwood.
Singing freeze frame. Yeah, it's funny. So you got the jail tear coming up. Kind of explain how that works to people that don't know anything about it.
It all started in 2015. The board decided they wanted to try to do a haunted attraction. Of course, they hired all of us. Well, they didn't hire us. We were volunteers. That's how I met Terry. And we never done a haunted house before, so we just wung it. And it just took off like hell. And we got thousands of people. And it just got bigger and bigger each year. Then COVID hit, and the board decided to sell the actual Jail of Terror business to Kevin Stitch. Kevin Stitch is a haunted attraction businessman. He owns, I think, 8 haunted attractions across the country. And this has been going on probably for 2 years. They've been in contract with him in negotiations about selling it and how he was going to have it at the jail. But they finally came to an agreement that he would lease the building from August 15th to November 15th every year for a certain price, and he would run the attraction. But to do that, he had to have a staff. So they offered to get a hold of me, Chris, and Terry to see if we wanted to run it. And of course, Chris and Terry weren't interested. They kind of lost interest in it and don't want to spend all this time that we had to put into it. So he hired me as general manager, and I hired Sarah Capitano, which was our acting director. And so we were working with them to run it again, start a new haunt. And it's crazy. It'll kill you. Don't ever run a haunted attraction. John Ward wants to run one. I'm trying to talk him out of it because it's stressful. It's a lot of work.
I can imagine.
But the theme is going to be pretty neat. She came up, the set designer. She's from Kentucky. She runs the haunted hotel in Kentucky. She runs a couple other of his haunts, and she kind of comes in and comes up with a plan of what the theme's going to be, what the actors are going to do. And it's actually based on a paranormal investigation. So you're going to come in the back of the building on the second floor fire exit. That's where they'll come in, and you'll meet up with a paranormal investigator, which is an actor, obviously, that has like a dialogue. And it's kind of an interactive haunt. So you're going to have to work with the investigator and the ghosts that are in there, the spirits, to get out of that floor to go to the next floor. All together, it ends up leading down into the basement, which is like the portal to hell and the hardest part to get through. So it's more of an interactive, theatrical haunt than it is just a haunted house where people are screaming and yelling at you.
It would be cool if they made that whole jail into like a haunted escape room.
He's going to end up doing escape rooms. What his plan is to make enough money to help the board get that third and fourth floor fire exit built. So we have access to all 4 floors. And then he'll have other events. He does like a Krampus Christmas, the evil Christmas, and the evil Easter, Valentine's Day. He's going to end up doing all those. But he wants to base it, how he's going to do those off the Jail of Terror crowd. If Newark draws a big enough crowd, he'll just keep continuing to have events.
Do you think that those type of events fuel the haunting at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Usually when we were running the Jail of Terror for the 5 years that we ran, people would literally hound us to death to get in there the week after the haunt was over. You know, because you're talking 700 people a night, 800 people a night running through there screaming, yelling, all the emotion and all the crap that they're doing during the haunt. It's usually the most active, investigation is the first one right after the haunt.
I feel privileged that I was part of the team that had exclusive access to that place privately on Halloween.
I think you were the first
during a full moon.
And full moon, yeah.
All the boxes were checked, dude. That place was lit that night. That place was crazy.
Yeah, and we had nobody in that building for what?
Months.
6, 8 months.
Yeah.
Just me. I was the only one that ever went in that building for those during COVID. And
Well, that's
no
why I brought my mom. I had to throw gasoline on it.
Yeah, that was a crazy night, and it's the only night we've ever had Halloween investigation since. Or wait, no, you guys came last year, but it wasn't on Halloween.
Right.
I can't remember, you and Antonio. No, but it hasn't happened since, and it probably won't happen again now that Kevin's at the attraction. So probably be the one and only.
Yeah, that was cool. That was, yeah. When you said that it was open and we had first dibs, I was like, yes. My mom comes from the shadows, so I'm gasoline. Mom, it's a metaphor. It's a you serve a function. Okay. I was interested in knowing what you thought of the place. I wanted you to, check it out. That was, my only reason for taking you there. But I know from experience that, things might get interesting if you, stepped in and did your thing.
She said, I know.
Oh, she freaked me. I mean, what she did on the fourth floor was awesome. I still have that on my phone. I've never shared it or anything, but man, that was amazing. She's awesome.
Yes.
I think the only person I've showed that to was Terry, and I showed her the next day. I was like, you got to see this.
Yeah, especially Mama Donna's on.
What did she think of it?
Terry, oh, she loved it. She was like, everything, when she stepped into May's cell and had no clue what happened up there, obviously, but she said she smelled she could smell something burning, and it was fleshy smelling, and it was just, everything she did was amazing. Like when she was first stepped in that cell block, she was seeing things, and the sweeping, remember she said something about their sweeping, and you were like, yeah, I know they are. And I was all into it. I was like dead set on watching her down that cell block. It was amazing. It was neat.
Yeah.
Plus, read a book while she was there.
I gave everybody composition notebooks because I had an idea for when everybody walked in there. They were not to share any of their experiences or first impressions because I wanted them to write down in the notebook what they were feeling, what they were experiencing, and then I wanted to read them all to see if any of them was similar. And there was some commonalities, but as far as what people were picking up psychically, it was not all the same, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, your mom filled that book up, didn't she?
Yeah, she was the only one that took the thing seriously. Everybody else was like, yeah. I got stuff to do.
I forgot all about it, to tell you the truth.
I got Anthony. Anthony wrote down some stuff too, but it was interesting.
Yeah. She was even reading. We went downstairs at one point, take a break or something, and she said, I'm seeing these ugly faces and these ugly, horrific faces, but they're having fun, and I don't know what it means, and I don't know whether it was my mom or somebody that was standing there. It was like, it's the haunted attraction that you're seeing the actors, and that's exactly what she was seeing. Was all the kids dressed up in makeup having fun and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Josh said, I wrote something serious in my book.
I'm sure you did.
I remember you wrote something,
them over there.
I can't remember what it was.
I still have them. They're over there. I plan to get them back out. Maybe when we go back in December, I'll bring them back with me.
Please don't.
Why? You don't want it?
No.
Why not?
I just want to tell you what the hell I'm feeling, tell you what the hell I'm seeing, and be done.
Why don't you want to write it down?
Because.
Why not?
Because my brain is like
John Ward
all the time.
Yeah, John Ward wrote, Justin needs to grow a beard is what John wrote in his book.
I grew it, okay? I did it.
And now it's gone.
It's still there.
Tomorrow it's gone.
Hey, Missy, you'll have to use the elevator because that way you don't trip and fall. No steps, just use the elevator.
I would rather use the steps. I have had more experiences on them damn steps than I have anywhere.
Yeah, I was going to tell my mom the elevator's working now, so if she wants to go back, she doesn't have to go up the stairs.
Most sets of steps.
Yeah. It works good, too.
Yeah, that elevator is sweet, dude. It's one of the coolest elevators I've been in an historic location.
It's real smooth. Sometimes we have problems with it stopping level with the floor.
Mm-hmm.
They come in and check it every month, and they just readjusted it, but I think last Friday, and I was in there Saturday moving tables and chairs up, and it's already starting to do it again. But it does work. I mean, all the safeties they put on it that aren't supposed to be on that old elevator is what it is. They need adjusted. But
yeah,
it works real smooth. I love it, so I don't have to run up and down all them steps all the time.
Yeah, if it was bigger, that'd be the only thing I would change about it. It's not the biggest elevator.
I see the elevator like one of the old ones.
Uh-oh, my mom wants to use the elevator. It's
I
cool.
do handicap tours in it. I do older couples that come in and want to do a tour. The only problem with doing a tour out of it is it doesn't open up to the living quarters. So
Right.
if you can't do steps, you can't do much of the living quarters. You can do the matrons, but it doesn't open up to that side of the building.
Right.
But we do tours with it all the time. I just did a lady in a walker and her husband Friday night.
Have you had
Wanted
any
to see-
experiences in the elevator?
No, I haven't. That's why Terry won't ride it. She's afraid something's going to happen and she's not going to be able to get out.
I'm eager. Has anybody investigated in there? Have you opened it up and let anybody go in there and do anything?
No, I don't usually let the ghost hunters. I mean, especially if I don't know them, we don't let them. We just tell them we don't let the public use it because I'm afraid it is going to get stuck. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to have to call the fire department from 3:00 in the morning. But no, people can do it. We don't offer it to them.
That's understandable.
There's a hatch door, especially you never know what some of these people are going to do. Yeah, if you know the team and trust them, yeah, no problem. But I don't know everybody that comes in there. There's crazy people come in there and do ghost hunts, YouTubers and everything else.
Well, what's the craziest? You don't have to name any groups or names or anything, but what's the craziest thing that's ever happened that you can remember?
I don't even remember the name of the group. It was a group that came in. Real big, heavy-set girl, big-chested, and she kept flashing her boobs in the cell blocks, thinking it would draw up the inmates in the jail.
I've heard of that.
I'm flashing them. I'm getting all kinds of evidence. No, yeah, whatever. I'd say that's probably the craziest I've seen so far.
Really? So that's...
And I didn't see it. I just heard it.
I know Matt Benton did something crazy enough to get him kicked out.
Yeah, he was throwing a machete in the floor. Trying to get the ghost to throw it back at him or something. I wasn't there for that.
He was trying to get the ghost to attack him with it.
Yeah. In a 130-year-old building in the original hardwood floors. Yeah, that's what he was doing.
Yeah. He's different now. He's grown so much, Darrin.
I want to see his documentary. I got Paraflix and I can't find it.
Oh, they took it off of Paraflix because he got a distribution deal.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I want to see it because I've heard from Goose and a couple other people, and I like his documentaries, always have.
Yeah, it's the best one he's done.
They said it was really good with the history of that building and the house and the family. I was looking for it last night. I can't find it.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can find a link or something. He should let you watch it. Should be no problem.
Josh Bender said, actually, what I wrote in my book was I heart boobs. It was something from a Jeopardy skit on Saturday Night Live. And then he said, I picked up on that. That's why I wrote it in my book.
Whatever.
I knew it had something to do with boobs. I just couldn't remember what it was.
Oh my God. He picked up on the group. Well, now, see, did that happen before that we were there that time or after?
Queen
Is
of
he-
last year's. So.
Yeah, it would have either been clairvoyance, like seeing the future, or that's funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah, John Ward just said he thought Matt Benton brought a pistol, and he did. Because at that time, we weren't allowed to have guns in the building. And
Yeah.
Jeff was trying to get him to take it off, and he wouldn't. He argued with him or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd let him back in there. I wouldn't care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it's money,
definitely
who cares?
he's definitely different now. He's a lot more mature than he used to be.
Josh thought I could do both.
He can do both.
Mm-hmm.
I need the Powerball numbers right now, dude. Right the fuck now.
Come on, Josh. He's been holding out on us this whole time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I need to get. I need to make a cloud chamber. Really bad. That's expensive. Yep. I need all the monies. I kid around with my wife Christy all the time. Like if we go shopping, like we were at Lowe's last weekend, I'd be like, I could spend $1 million in here in 30 minutes. Easily. I could spend $1 million before I went inside. I'd be like, all those lawnmowers, all those grills, everything out here I'd buy. I tell people, if I was rich, I would buy an Office Max. And I'd close it up, board it up, and just keep it like it is. And wouldn't let anybody in there. I'd keep all the supplies in their packages. I would just collect. Dude, I have drawers full of stuff in its package, like pens, pencils. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me, dude. I have weird little quirks like that I like to collect. You're so funny, Justin. Ha ha ha. See, Gina thinks I'm funny. Why can't you take me seriously?
It's because Gina doesn't know you personally.
Yes, she does. She knows me personally. She's not married to me, though.
She doesn't have to listen to your shit every day.
Yeah, she would get tired of my shit. I understand. You don't have to state the obvious, all right? You're not on Team Justin. Is your problem, Missy? You need to get on Team Justin.
I love you to death, but I'm on Team Christy with this one.
You're on Team Christy? All right, you're dead to me.
She just
I'm
said,
sure Derek and
Christy just
Josh
said Gina doesn't live with you.
But
I'm an upstanding guy. I've never been described as upstanding, but I'm glad that I have.
he's usually sitting.
I'm upsitting. You're not alone, Justin. Have never-ending notebook supply. See, I know I'm not the only one. I'm just a nerd. If you peel back all the layers, I'm a nerd.
I've seen other teams do that at the jail. They all get a notebook and they all write down, just like you guys are doing. I didn't get to read their notebooks, but I wasn't investigating with them either. But I've seen other people do it. A lot of people do that.
Well, yeah, the idea... Thanks, by the way, Gina. I am a nice guy. I just pretend to be an asshole. But I just think it's an interesting idea to kind of, have a way to check everybody's notes without influencing each other, because it's easy to be, influenced by the power of suggestion. Like if someone has an experience or you hear someone else's story, the brain tends to, be impacted or be influenced by what other people say and feel. So that kind of helps eliminate that.
That's just like somebody gets a recording in an EPP and tells you what it says and then lets you hear it. You're going to obviously hear exactly what they just said they heard.
Exactly.
But somebody brought up, I think it was Denise Smith brought up a good point. She goes, what if everybody's EVPs, everybody that hears an EVP for the first time doesn't hear the same thing everybody else does. Everybody hears a different EVP when they hear it. What if that's a possibility? It's like, could be a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah, it's that's normally what happens unless it's what they call a Class A, which is so clear and so plain that it's everybody hears the same thing, which is rare. But you know, the better quality recording you have, the better chance there is of getting a Class A, which is why I find it extremely irritating that people use the worst recorder possible to get EVPs. Like, no. Don't do that.
Derek,
But yeah,
I haven't gotten any.
DTJB.
Team DTJB. Oh my God. Don't make that a hashtag. Don't make that.
You will now.
Started using the Rocketbook notebooks, scan to files, and environmentally friendly besides saving me money and paper. I haven't heard of those. Have to check them out. In my experience on live playbacks, most of us are all pretty close or on the same wavelength and deciphering the same thing. That's cool. Yeah, I stopped subtitling any like audio that I didn't know where it comes from on our stuff. If you notice that when you watch it, I just say, okay, here's the clips. If I replay it, I just replay it a few times, but I don't subtitle it. Yeah, of course, some of them I think I understand what it is, but it kind of defeats the purpose if you subtitle it, because you're just suggesting something to the listener, and it defeats the whole purpose. So, now that you are going on investigations at the jail with groups and other locations, what things have you learned about paranormal research and investigation that you didn't know before that you have kind of adopted as your methodology?
The less equipment, the better. You know, like the REM pods and all the toys. I'd rather just take a phone just to take pictures and a recorder and just sit and listen. I seem to get more just sitting and listening than I do running around trying to play with equipment, because I'm too focused on that piece of equipment and I'm not paying attention to anything else. So I'd rather just go and sit and listen, and because you're going to hear something, especially at the jail, you always hear footsteps or something. But if you're too busy paying attention to all the other stuff, then you're going to miss stuff, I think.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a balance. If you want to if all you care about is experiencing it, yeah, that's going to be better. But I think a lot of people, the more equipment they use, the more they're trying to document activity.
And I don't disagree with their ways. It's just my personal. I would rather just sit and listen and maybe take a recorder.
Yeah, like you're still in the stage of wanting to experiencing it, which is, I think that's a smart idea. It's a smart idea to do. Is not hard. Do you have like a camera or a video camera to use, or do you just use your phone?
I just use my phone. I want to get a camera because to do like something like you guys have, that handheld set up with a dead light or whatever, but no, I just use my phone. The only thing I have is basically is that recorder I talked to you about, and I haven't really played with it too much. I took it up to Hinsdale, but I was too busy. You couldn't use a recorder at Hinsdale in the woods because the tree frogs were so loud. You couldn't. When you play a recorder back, that's all you heard. You wouldn't have heard anything. So, but that's all I really have is the recorder and couple K2 meters, but I don't have any interest in buying a lot. I do want to get a camera eventually.
Well, when you're in the market for one, let me know, and we'll definitely help you out in getting it set up and everything. Tree frogs are amazing.
They were so freaking loud. But the funny thing is, I don't know if John, I'm sure he did. He was with me, but every time we'd have an experience or we'd hear or see something with ourselves, those damn tree frogs got dead silent. And if you weren't paying attention to them, they were gone. They were just dead silent. And then all of a sudden start back up. But when you were trying to record, you couldn't get anything on the recorder. It was too damn loud. Plus, it had been raining all day, misty, foggy rain all day. So when we got up in the woods and it was dark, the fog was starting to come down in the trees, and it was getting creepier than hell. Definitely was creepy.
Yeah, the woods can get kind of ominous real fast, especially if you're at a location like that.
And I know we all heard, me and John especially heard it. It wasn't really a chanting, it was a grunt noise, like a grunting, a human moaning or grunting in the distance. And then we heard the drums, of course, and we heard the Indian chanting. God, obviously it was nobody around those woods, because nobody lives around there. There's a barn at the top of the hill.
Did you start dancing when you heard the drums and chanting?
No, I was puckering.
Did you you're supposed to take off your clothes and start dancing in the woods when you hear that, Darrin.
Hell no. I was on protection mode at that moment.
Gina, tell this man what he's supposed to do when he hears Indian chants and drums in the woods at night. Yep, there she goes. She says, I would have. I knew it. I knew it. John says, I was trying not to slip down the mudslide of a hill in the dark. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was slick.
Was it wet?
Yeah, it was damp all day long. We had rain all night the night before. And we did Wildwood. It was actually storming. We had a hell of a storm. And then the next day, once we got to Hinsdale, it was nice. And then it just that misty, hanging out rain, foggy all day long. Then it stopped raining and we went up in the woods when it got dark, and that's when the fog set in and all the leaves were wet. And yeah, it was pretty slick.
Ken has said, I thought his new equipment was a death whistle. Whose new equipment? Yours?
Oh, yeah.
His new equipment.
No, I didn't get one. John got one. Eddie Pence took one with us to Hinsdale, one of those Aztec death whistles. And we were playing jokes on Holly DiMaggio with it, but John ended up buying one as soon as he got home.
Those things are crazy, dude.
They're good for haunted attractions, I'll tell you.
Sound like someone screaming through a whistle.
Yeah, actors will sneak up behind you in the dark with those damn things, and they're nasty.
I don't get why people want to go into a haunted attraction and do that. I don't understand. But hey, it's not for everyone.
It's a big business.
I realize that there's a lot of people, like the escape rooms and haunted things that you go to just to get this shit scared out of you. That stuff don't do anything for me though, and I guess I'm just not fun.
It's for the younger crowds anyway. I mean, it's
I'm not much. Yeah. I'm not much of a thrill seeker in that way, but I don't down it. I want people to have a good time. That's why I really don't get upset with people doing the paranormal, just to try to experience something crazy, get the shit scared out of them. They do it for excitement. I think that's perfectly fine. But, to each their own. I remember when I was young, I would go sneak into places all the time because they were cool and creepy. You wanted to go see what they look like, especially in the dark. It's fun. It's something fun to do. I mean, it's still fun. It's still fun.
I do it around here all the time in Granville. Granville's the oldest town around here, and it's just down the street. And there's some creepy ass places in Granville.
I bet. I think one of the creepiest places I've been at night was probably Indiana State Sanitarium. I think it's a little bit creepier than Waverly Hills. It's definitely creepier than Waverly Hills in ways.
Hillview was creepier to me.
Hillview is creepy too, I mean, I don't want to knock other locations. There's other locations that are there, okay? But Indiana State Sanatorium is so unique because it's in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, you hear no cars. There's no one, okay? All you hear is sometimes birds, sometimes, wildlife. Especially at night, it gets super... when it's so quiet, you can hear your ears ringing? You know what I'm saying? Because, when it's so quiet, everybody has like a little bit of a ringing in their ears from damage over the years. It's so quiet you can hear your ears ring. That's how quiet it is. Let's see here.
That's the teenagers sneak in on you.
Oh, yeah. That
around a bit.
I'm glad that didn't cause any problems. I bet they're still seeing my headlamp.
There's a guy at Blood Moon Paranormal. I talked to him at FCI convention, and he had all his gear set up wherever you set it up in one of the buildings, and they went into another building. But somebody left one of their recorders or cameras running. Didn't get them on camera, but it got them on the recording of them going through all their gear and stealing it all. And he
Where
got
was
it
this
all
at?
On at ISS.
Really?
Yeah, it was a guy and his girlfriend. They even say each other's names on the recording. And they took a bunch of his equipment.
Good night, Brenda. That's what I was worried about, because we had our stuff, a lot of our stuff, in a building that were the rooms where you sleep out at night. So
I think that's where they were.
We definitely need to lock our shit up if we go back, because I was worried about that.
Yeah, you could hear them whispering. They're like, "Oh, this is ghost hunting shit. Can I take this? Can I take that?" And I don't know what all they took. Whatever he had in cases, they took. And he came back and listened to his recording, and they pretty much gave themselves up, except they weren't on camera. They were just on the recording.
Wow. That's... Yeah. Gina says that's sad. And it is... You can't even leave your shit sitting there when you're going, when you're doing that, because kids will come in and just fucking jack your shit. It's...
Oh, yeah, especially out in the middle of the woods, and they've probably already been going in and out of that place, and now they know there's ghost hunters with expensive camera equipment and shit. They're going to go in there and try to get it.
Well, when we were there last, you've heard us tell the story, right? Where they came in from the fucking woods, and they didn't know we were there. And I bet they puckered. Me and Derek pinched them in the middle of that place. And I have a super bright headlamp that I had bought, and I had it on high, and I just click it on them. And they're like, deer in headlights. And I'm like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh, is this place haunted?" And I'm like, "You guys can't be here, yada, yada, yada." And they're like, they can't see dick. All they can see is fucking light. And I'm just like, I hope you guys are blind. But yeah, Derek makes sure that they got out of there. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is going to be a problem for people. It's going to be a real problem at that location.
Yeah, that guy posted the video and everything of the recording on Facebook. It's still on there. It's on Blood Moon Paranormal, I think, is the name of the group.
Yeah, John. I mean, buddy, that's something that I always think about when you can't secure a location completely. That it's either abandoned or it's completely open, like ISS or whatever. It's definitely something you need to constantly worry about. Darrin, how about when we were at Fairfield in April, stupid punk-ass kids?
Yeah, me and Eddie Pence were at Fairfield investigating one night. Just got started. Still light out, sort of. Addie had left and went downtown Lancaster to get something to eat while we started our investigation. Kept hearing voices when we were in the basement that were clear as day. What ended up being a group of teenagers. I can't remember how many of them there was, 4 or 5 of them. Came right up to the door, basement exit door where we were standing. Looked in the door and saw me and Eddie and the other 2 ladies that were with us. And they ended up telling them they had to leave. And they were like, "Oh, but your website says you're having a ghost hunt tonight." They just wouldn't leave. So we ran upstairs, went out to the main entrance where you come in Fairfield, and they were coming in the damn door. And me and Eddie had to shoo them out, tell them they had to leave. They got in their cars, sat in their cars forever, pulled around the other side of the building, wouldn't leave. So Eddie and this other lady went outside and confronted them, and then they started getting cocky. You know, making fun of us, say, you know, what are you going to call the cops, ghost hunter? And then Eddie just got irate, started screaming and yelling at him. And he's like, my best friend owns this place. I'll just call him right now. But they ended up leaving. But yeah, and that's right there in Fairfield, right on Route 37, broad daylight. They were going to come right in the building.
That's happening more and more with social media. Like if you advertise where you're going and where it's at,
Oh yeah,
that's almost like to idiots. It's an invitation for you to go crash a party or crash the investigation.
yeah. He was saying that it said it on Fairfield's website that they were open for a public investigation at 7. They didn't say that on there.
Oh,
They saw the tours the night before, I think. And it just happened to me at the jail about 2 weeks ago. I had a college group. They were in like some kind of psychic, I don't know, some kind of college course to do a psychiatric stuff. And they wanted to do a flashlight tour. Not really a ghost hunt. They just wanted to come check the building out in the dark and hear the history and the claims. And we were on the second floor cell block in the dark, in the center of the cell block. And some drunk ass lady starts beating on the back fire exit door right in the middle of our tour. Of course, none of us knew what the hell the noise was. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the best evidence ever. Something is beating on one of these doors.
oh my God.
Then I could see her feet under the door. She could see our flashlights. So she knew we were in there. But they gave us more shit. They were knocking on doors, and we came downstairs. They were knocking on the north door, the front door. Then they called Monday. The same people called the jail and said, your website said you were open. And I tried to get in, and the words he was saying were pretty choice, but left a message on the county office phone complaining that we weren't letting him in, and yeah, it was ridiculous. It happens all the time. They come knocking on doors and shit. But that freaked me out. We didn't know she was up there on that fire escape, and when she banged on that door, those kids all took off running.
Man, that sucks. Jack didn't get the notification that the show went live. We're about ready to wrap it up. So if you want to watch, you have to watch the replay. My bad, man. We were supposed to have another guest on tonight, but they couldn't come on. So we moved up Darrin to be on the show tonight.
He was gracious enough to accept my move up request.
Gracious. So, man, is there anything that you would like to promote or advertise before we wrap this show up?
If you're interested in coming to the jail for a private investigation, just keep your eyes on the Facebook page, the Haunted Licking County page. We'll have new dates and new crews running, hosting them, starting in February. Right now, we're booked up for the rest of the year, obviously, but February we should have a new line of dates for the whole season next year. And we're going to have, it won't just be me and Terry running, and the board's not going to run the ghost hunts anymore. We're going to run them ourselves privately. So we'll be able to do a lot more dates, and they're going to try to do some weekdays. The board basically wants more ghost hunts out of us, so that's the only way to really do it.
So I linked the Facebook page, so anybody... Guys, this place is unique. The architecture alone is enough of a reason to go check out this place. It looks like a mini medieval castle. All right, here, I don't have a scene to share the screen, but check out the Facebook page. There's plenty of photos. It's a super awesome location. It's active. If you're interested in investigating a place with really cool claims, that's definitely a great place to go. Darrin's a great tour guide. All the staff people that work there are awesome. Please go check it out.
I've been serious this whole show, but Jack said this isn't the one about Kesha, I take it?
No. I was going to ask Adam about what he thought about Kesha, if he was going to be on tonight, and I told him, it's like, if you want to hear him talk about it, to tune in. He's like, oh, I will.
I've been serious this full show, but I have a question for Darrin.
Okay. Oh, no.
WrestleMania.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I'll freeze up. My internet will go away.
I love you, Darrin.
I was just waiting on it to happen.
I wasn't going to do it because you hear enough of it as it is. But thanks for.
God, the actors are doing it to me too at the jail now.
I'm glad that they are. That makes me happy. All right, man. We're going to wrap this up. Thank you very much for coming on here and doing this, man. I appreciate it a lot. I can't wait to see you here in a few months and hang out again. But
thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. You can hang out while I wrap up the show if you want, or if you want to jump off, do what you got to do. All right.
Ready then. All
right. Let me mute the desktop audio. Okay. So, Missy, do we have a guest? We don't have a guest next week because Darrin was our guest next week, right? Okay. We may get a guest next week. It's 8 p.m. Eastern. If we do, if we don't have a show next week, we will skip next Wednesday and go to the next Wednesday. We have Anthony Grothish coming on the show. Very cool paranormal investigator out of Maryland here in the States. So check that out. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. It was awesome to see everybody interacting as much as they were. That's exactly what we want to happen. We want to all kind of hang out and feel like have fun, relax, kick back, and talk about all the creepy, cool stuff. But here's our social media links. Please go check us out on social media. We got a lot of cool stuff that we've been putting up over the years. So please, take your time to do that. Patreon supporters, if it wasn't for them, I definitely wouldn't be continuing to do this, especially this show, because it's so time consuming and expensive for the stuff I got to pay for to do it. So thank you very much for the Patreon supporters. If you would like to check out our Patreon, I will put it in the chat here again. Oh, that's not it. That's the wrong link. Don't send that one. Send the right one. There's our Patreon. If you want to check out our website, I'll link that right there for you. So thank you very much, guys. You're awesome. We love you. Please follow the Necromancer Live Show on Facebook to see if we're having a guest next week. I will post it. And you guys stay spooky. You guys have a good week, a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. All right. Be safe. Be healthy. All right. We'll see you next time. You have a good night.